You know the sir to teach all the chapters. But in exam only that will come.
Shall we start the circles, or else shall we go with the chapter which is going on till now?
Yes, sir. Chapter 10 and
We'll start with circles, okay, and if necessary, means like the rest all questions which are there means from triangle 6.4. If it is including, then we will finish it off later. What do you say? Or else shall we finish it off exercise 6.4? Zain, what do you say?
Let us do some circle chapter.
Circle chapter, right? Okay. So let me share the screen to you. Just a minute. In circle chapter, you will find there are two theorems. Only two theorems are there, and which is very necessary. Okay, so let us see this one first. What they have given to you in chapter this one. What is it? What's called circles, right? Okay, right. First theorem is just right. Okay. By the way, before starting, let us go through with some of the important topics. Just a minute, huh? Wait. Okay, you know, in a circle there are some rules and regulations. Just this is called as, this point is called as what? Can anyone tell me?
center.
Yes,
Center of the circle.
it is called the center of the circle. Okay. Next, this line which just touches the circle at one point, what it is called? Can anyone tell me?
Tangent.
Tangent.
Very good. This is called as tangent. A circle which is cutting in one point. Okay. A line which cuts in 2 points, what it is called?
Chord.
Second. Which cuts the circle I'm speaking. Okay. But if a line which from its inside, if it is joining the other side of the circle, then this one is called this chord. Okay, so understood what are the three things? A line which touches the circle at one point, okay, that is called a tangent. A line which cuts the circle into 2 points, that is called a second, and a line which joins the circle in 2 points, that is called a chord. Okay, so can anyone tell me in a circle how many chords I can draw? Yes, how many chords I can draw?
Unlimited.
This is called in English, in maths language, infinite. Infinite number of chords I can draw. Okay, Fuzel, just understand this, because in your first exercise, these things are there, fill in the blanks and these all things, which is very important. 1 mark questions you will get. Okay, now tell me, which is the greatest chord?
Middle one.
Diameter.
Huh?
Middle.
In this, from the center, that one is the greatest chord, and that is the diameter of the circle. Answer is diameter of the circle. Understood? Okay, so these are some of the things which you have to go through. Okay, so let us start with the fill in the blanks from the beginning, from the first itself. Okay, now see, okay, before going through this one, let's just go through this exercise. How many tangents can a circle have? Now look here, the diagram, it's are you sure? See, in a circle, you can have this tangent here also, here also, here also, here also. I can draw now. So how many tangents I can draw? Infinite. So please note it down here. Here you just write. I'm writing with annotation. Okay, you write here infinite. In the book itself, you just write. Written? Now let's go to question number 2, Roman 1. A tangent to a circle intersects it in dash points. How many points a tangent intersects a circle? Yes?
1 point.
One.
1 point. Very good. Okay. A line intersecting a circle in 2 points is called a line
Second.
intersecting a circle at 2 points is called as second. Understood? Next, a circle can have dashed parallel tangents at the most. See, in a circle, this is one tangent which I have drawn. This is another tangent which I have drawn. Okay, isn't it right? So how many tangents I can draw at the most? Always remember this. See, I can draw here also parallel. So how many?
2.
Now also 2. Always remember this one is parallel to this, not with this one, isn't it? So this is parallel to only this one. So always remember only a circle can have 2 parallel tangents at the most. Okay, next one, the fourth one. What has been given? The common point of a tangent to a circle, and the circle is called. Okay, I didn't say you that one. Yes. Now listen. There is one thing I have to talk to you. Wait just a minute. Yeah. Listen. In a circle, if you are having a tangent and which cuts the circle at one point, this point is called as point of contact. What is called?
Point of contact.
Point of contact. So here also they have given the common point of a tangent to a circle, and the circle is called as, what do you write? Point of contact.
Point of
Write it
contact.
down. Point of contact. Written? Okay. Now listen. In question number 3, just see what they have given. A tangent PQ. Wait just a minute. Let me rub all this. Okay. Now see, they have given a tangent PQ at a point P of a circle of radius 5 centimeter meets a line through the center O at point Q, so that OQ is equals to 12 centimeter, and they said length of PQ is. So before going to this, now I have to go through a theorem. Okay, now listen. Please write down this theorem. First theorem. Without doing this, we cannot go through this one. Right? Prove that the tangent at any point of a circle is perpendicular to the radius through the point of contact. Okay, now see, what does this prove means that in a circle, when a tangent is being drawn, okay, this is the tangent, and says, for example, this is the center of the circle. So always remember that in this question they say that radius is always perpendicular to tangent. They're speaking to us that to prove that always radius is perpendicular to tangent. Look what they say. Prove that the tangent at any point of a circle is perpendicular to the radius through the point of contact. Point of contact is this, isn't it right? From the center O to here, this is my radius. Okay, so always remember tangent is always perpendicular to radius, or radius is always perpendicular to tangent, vice versa. Okay, so here we have to prove this one. So how will you prove? So how we will prove this? That is the question, isn't it right? I'm just giving you a hint. Says, for example, to make this one as a perpendicular, look here, say I am drawing this line. Okay, I'm drawing a line over here. Now this line Okay, is it perpendicular? Can anyone tell me? Says, for example, I am writing this one, this is Q and this is Q. Whether OQ is perpendicular to this line?
No, sir.
No, sir.
If I draw another line here, says, for example, I'm putting it here, whether it is perpendicular?
No, sir.
No, sir.
So similarly, if I draw here many lines, n number of lines, if I draw, you will see that the most shortest line is this one. Okay, so when the shortest line, when you will find this line is always the perpendicular. Always remember this. Okay, here they have given you some, see, they have given you one proof. If you go through with this proof, we are given a circle with center O and tangent xy to the circle at point P. There are many things are written. So they have just compared. Just see, they have taken one construction OQ. I will show it to you in the later half. Just try for today itself. You just try to always remember that radius and tangent both are perpendicular to one another. Now, we understood what I said, that in a circle, these all things now. Look here. In a circle, radius, this radius, okay, is always perpendicular to tangent. Always remember this. Understood what I said to you? Okay. Now let us go to the question which has been given here. They said a tangent PQ at a point P. Now let us take this, let us write this question number 3. Let us draw a circle. Make this one as the center. Write this one as O. And this is the point P. Okay. So they say a tangent PQ. When they spoke about, so this is P and this is Q. We can draw like this. This is also a tangent. We can draw. Can we draw this? Yes, Ashrar, what do you say?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Okay. So they say that a tangent PQ at a point P of a circle of radius 5 centimeter. So let us draw the radius, this one, which is 5 centimeter. Okay. Now they say that meets a line through the center O at a point Q. Okay. It meets at a point Q. So that OQ is equals to 12 centimeter. They said this one as OQ is equals to how much? 12 centimeter. They said you to find out the length PQ. You have to find out this length. So how to find out? We know radius is perpendicular to tangent. This one we know, isn't it? So if it is perpendicular, we can use the Pythagoras theorem. So write this one in triangle OPQ. Okay, OQ square. You know the Pythagoras theorem. Hypotenuse square equals to perpendicular square plus base square, isn't it? OP square plus PQ square you can write. So implies OQ is equals to 12 square, OP is equals to 5 square plus PQ square, isn't it? So 12 square means 144 and 5 square means 25 plus PQ square, isn't it? Now you will get here 144 minus 25. This 25 if you keep on other side, that is on left hand side, it will be minus, isn't it? So you will get how much? 40 minus 5 is 9, 3 minus 2 is 1 and 1. So 119 is equals to PQ square. Now this square, when it will go to the other side, it will be root of 119 is equals to PQ, or else you can say PQ is equals to root of 119. So the distance, so the length of tangent is how much? Root of 119. So the answer is D. Mark this one as D. Have you understood, Hassan?
Yes, sir.
Please note down this one, that PQ is equals to root of 119. Have you written this? Answer is D. Written, Nabil?
Yes, sir.
Okay, shall we go to the next question? Yes, Noor, have you
Yes,
understood? Okay, now let's go for the next question they have given to you. Draw a circle on two lines parallel to given. I am not required this one. Okay, now see, now write a proof. Prove that, right? One theorem you just write, which is very important. This theorem too comes. Prove that length of tangents drawn from an external point to a circle are equal. Written this proof?
Yes, sir.
Okay, now see. They said, prove that length of tangents drawn from an external point to a circle are equal. You have to prove this one, that if a circle is there and if an external point is somewhere here, from here, if I draw a tangent and another tangent, if I draw to a circle in this position, okay, then these 2 points, this is the tangent up to this much. Say, for example, this is PQ and this is R. That they are meeting it here. Okay, so PQ is equals to PR. You have to prove. That is the length of the tangent. These 2 tangents which are there, they are equal to one another. Okay, so how to prove this one? Let us see. So think that this is the center of the circle, which we are representing as O. So we'll write here, let PQ and PR be 2 tangents drawn from an external point P to prove PQ is equals to PR. Written up to this much. Yes. So we're finished. Now write construction. We have to construct something, or else we cannot prove that they are equal to one another. Now see, here what we will do, first we will join these lines. We will join OQ, we will join OR, and we will join OP. These are the things which we will join. So if we join these lines, you will see that there are 2 triangles is been formed, PQO and PRO. Have you seen, everyone? 2 triangles.
Yes, sir.
Okay, so what we will do here in construction, we will write, we join OQ, OR, OP. Written. Now take the proof part. So since we have joined, we have seen the 2 triangles. So in triangle, what are the triangles? OPQ and OPR. OPQ and triangle OPR. Okay, we can write OQ is equals to OR, since radius, because in a circle the radius will not change to one another, isn't it, right? Always the radius will be same at any from the center at any distance, isn't it? Look here, can I write OQ and OR same to same? Yes, what do you say, Master Ayman? OQ and OR, can you say same to same? That is, this is their radius. Next,
Yes,
we just
sir.
see, already we have said in theorem 1 that the radius is always perpendicular to tangent, isn't it, right? Can I say angle OQP is equals to ORP? Both are 90 degree each. Can we say OQP? See, this is the radius and this is the tangent. This is the tangent and this is the radius, isn't it? Can I say OQP is equals to ORP? Yes, Noor? Can we say? Asrar?
Yes, sir.
Okay,
Yes, sir.
so we will write here OQP angle OQP is equals to angle ORP. Why? Since radius is perpendicular to tangent. Okay, so these two things we got. Again, another thing you will find in this one, OP is common to both these triangles. Have you seen this line? I'm showing you with writing. This is the line. This line is common to for both these triangles. Can we say OP is common? Yes.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Okay, so we will write here. Wait, just a minute. We'll write here OP is equals to OP since common side. Therefore, we can say triangle OPQ is congruent to triangle OPR. Can we say? For what reason? Can anyone tell me? Aman?
Sir, side angle side.
Side angle side. If you write side angle side, then it is wrong. Look very nicely. If I show you the diagram. RHS. Okay. Listen, Zubair.
Yes, sir. RH.
This is the side. This is the side which I have made it equal, and we did not got in the middle. That is the common point. This one we didn't got equal. We got outside this angle, isn't it right? Why then? Why I should write 90 degree? Now listen. If this is 90 degree, this is your hypotenuse. If this is 90 degree, the opposite angle is hypotenuse, isn't it right? And hypotenuse is equal. So in your RHS, what they say to you that you have to prove right angle. This one you have to prove hypotenuse, and one side at least for the for these two triangles, your corresponding sides you have to make it equal, isn't it? So with the help of this, we have proved this one that with the help of RHS we can prove. We cannot write a side angle side. If you write this, then it will be totally wrong. Always remember. So RHS congruence rule. Okay. So if these two triangles are equal, can I say that PQ is equals to PR? Now look, by CPCT. I'm minimizing it, you can see it properly. Look, can we write PQ is equals to PR by CPCT?
Yes, sir.
Please note it down. Always remember, from this theorem, what you have learned, that from an external point, if any two tangents are being drawn to a circle, then these two tangents are always equal. Okay, and another theorem you got, that radius is perpendicular to tangent. These two things are very important. Why? Because the question, rest all question answers from exercise 10.2 related to these two theorems only. Understood, Noor? Okay, have you written this?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Okay, so today up to this much then. Okay, Fuzel finished. Take the screenshot. Okay, so thank you all for joining.
Good morning, everyone. Good morning, everyone.
Good morning, Miss.
My sound is audible.
Yes, Miss. Yes, Miss. Yes, Miss.
So, okay. So let's start our class. Last class we discussed up to the importance of variation. Okay. So what we got from importance of variation, that if variation occurs during the time of reproduction, then it helps an individual to survive in its changing environment. So it gives us an ability to develop another quality to survive in the changing environment. Okay. So today we will discuss about the modes of reproduction used by single organisms. We got that there are mainly two kinds of reproduction. One is asexual and another one is sexual. So asexual reproduction requires only one individual. Okay, from one individual a new individual will develop. And whereas sexual reproduction requires two individual, fusion of two individual produce a new individual. Okay, so today we will discuss about the asexual reproduction. So can you tell me the definition of asexual reproduction? What is the definition of asexual reproduction? Anyone, please? Asexual reproduction requires what? You can see here, you can see that modes of reproduction used by single organisms means asexual reproduction. Only single individual is required to form a new individual. Okay, I think I shown you earlier classes that what is the definition of asexual reproduction. Wait, you see. So the reproduction is what? The process of production of progenies or offsprings is known as reproduction. Offsprings means new, progenies or offsprings means new individual. New individual. So the process of production of new offsprings or progenies is known as reproduction. And asexual reproduction is what? Reproduction occurs by a single individual. Means it requires only one individual. From one individual, new individual will produce. Now,
Miss, example, Miss.
Example, amoeba. Amoeba, I think all of you know amoeba. It is a unicellular organism. Okay, so they will grow from asexual reproduction. 6 methods are there. Asexual reproduction have 6 methods. Okay, you see, I will discuss one by one. First one, you see in your book 6 methods given. First one is what? Fission. 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 Second one is fragmentation. Fission, fragmentation, then regeneration, then vegetative propagation, and budding. These are the 6 methods of reproduction through which organisms reproduce. Okay, I'm writing here 6 methods of asexual reproduction. Okay, so one is for fission, Fission, fission. Second one is fragmentation, Frag. Different organisms reproduce different methods. That's why 6 methods are there. Okay, fragmentation, then regeneration. Fourth one is budding. Fifth one is vegetative propagation or reproduction. So these are the 6 methods of asexual reproduction. We will discuss all of these one by one. So first one is what? Fission. How fission occurs? Fission simply means what? Cell division. Remember this. Fission simply we can say that it is the cell division. Okay. So first one you see fission. Fission means what? For unicellular organisms. So first thing you see that fission, through the process of fission, only unicellular organisms reproduce. Unicellular organisms reproduce by the process of fusion and cell division or fission. So fission simply we can say that the cell division. So when cell divides, then from this cell division, any individual will produce. So unicellular organisms uses fission method, and fission meaning is what? Cell division. So how this from the fission, how unicellular organisms develops? So amoeba, we all know it is a unicellular organism. So first, this one figure you see, figure 8.1. So this is an amoeba. Okay. So and this amoeba have nucleus. You see, this amoeba have nucleus. We all know that in every cell, nucleus is the central position. Nucleus is there. So whenever this cell division starts, division of cells start, that time their nucleus will started to separate from each other. Means that time new cells will started to grow. Here you see their nucleus becomes bigger. Earlier it was like this. Then it becomes bigger. Means here cell division occurs. Then in third step you see the nucleus is ready to separate from it. It becomes two. Earlier, it was like this. This is the nucleus of amoeba. Then it started to split. Second position, you see. Then in third position, nucleus is ready to divide. Then in fourth, you see their cytoplasm. The in cell, the inner space is known as what? Cytoplasm. Though their cytoplasm divides into two parts, and ultimately it forms the new individual. So here you can see from one amoeba, two amoeba will produce. That's why it is known as binary fission. Fission have two types. Binary fission. Bi means two. So from one individual, two amoeba will produce. That is why it is known as binary fission. Remember this. Amoeba reproduce by the process of fission, and mainly in the process of binary fission. First, you see many bacteria and protozoa simply split into two equal halves. So bacteria and protozoa, this is a unicellular organisms. So it is generally start whenever cells started to divide. That time they started to split their body parts, especially nucleus. So nucleus, whenever nucleus started to split, that time DNA copying takes place. We last classes we have learned that DNA copying takes place, and then their cell apparatus, means their cell organelle also will also cell organelles copy will also start that time, and then ultimately their cytoplasm, means inner space of a cell is known as cytoplasm. So their cytoplasm is ready to divide, and ultimately it forms a two new individuals. The process of division of cell takes place in amoeba. Then it generally leads to the formation of two new individuals, and this process is known as binary fission. So we can say that amoeba reproduces by the process of binary fission. Binary fission means from one amoeba, two amoeba will produce. That's why it is known as binary fission. Another example is there, you see. However, in some other organisms, this is leishmania, Leishmani, leishmania. So it is a microorganisms which causes kala-jar. It is actually fever, kala-jar. So however, some unicellular organisms, so this is also a unicellular organism, show somewhat more organization of their bodies, such as seen in leishmania, 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 which causes kala-jar. Important question, remember this. Leishmania causes kala-jar. So its structure is whip-like. Whip means, all of you see, they have one hair-like structure here. Suppose this is a leishmania and one hair-like structure. This is known as whip-like structure. Okay. So it have whip-like structure at the end of the at its one end. It's in its one end. This whip-like structure is there. In such organisms, binary fissions occurs in a definite orientation. So how it occurs? You see, first here also their cell division starts. Ultimately, nucleus started to grow. Two cell produce. You see, and their whip-like structures also started to grow. Earlier, you see one whip-like structure is there. Then whenever it started to divide, then ultimately two whip-like structures are formed. Or we can say that this is known as flagella. These are the locomotory organs. Means for movement purpose, these are used. Okay. In other organisms are there like paramecium, then amoeba. They also have locomotory organs or movement organs which helps them to move from one place to another. So leishmania also have whip-like structures which is known as flagella. So ultimately they started to grow. So they started to grow in a different way. Here you see in the earlier it was like this. Then they formed to develop a new individual. Means they will also produce two new individuals. So ultimately their nucleus started to separate from the parent cell. Then ultimately it forms a new individual. So it is also From one leishmania, two leishmania will produce. So this is also a binary fission. From this, we can say that the binary fission is a process of cell division. When cell division occurs, their nucleus will started to grow. Okay, then DNA coupling takes place, and then ultimately their cytoplasm, means inner position of space of their cell. This will also started to grow, and ultimately it will separate from their parent cell, and it forms the two new individual. Because of their forming two new individual, they are known as binary fission. Binary means two, and fission means cell division. Okay, so these are the we can say what are the two examples of binary fission. One is amoeba and another one is leishmania. Amoeba, leishmania. And leishmania causes which type of disease? Can you tell? Leishmania. Leishmania causes which type of disease? Can anyone tell? Asrar, you tell. Leishmania.
Kala azar.
Yes, Kala-Azar. It is a type of fever. Okay, it causes Kala-Azar. Next, you see another organism is there which also reproduces by the process of fission. Fission. Its name is Plasmodium. You see, Plasmodium. So its name is Plasmodium, and it's this microorganism causes malaria disease. Remember this, malaria disease is caused by Plasmodium, and its full meaning is what? Mycobacterium. It is a bacteria. Mycobacterium Plasmodium. Remember this. Leishmania causes Kala-Azar, and this Plasmodium causes malaria disease. It is a bacteria. Mycobacterium Plasmodium. Okay, this causes generally malaria disease. So this Plasmodium reproduces by the process of fission, but their fission is multiple. Means earlier we got that binary, means two individual forms. Here more than two. That's why it is multiple. So whenever their cells started to grow, then they will produce. Earlier we got that this is an amoeba. From this amoeba, their nucleus will started to grow, and ultimately they will separate from their parent. Okay, and they will produce two individual. And here you see, whenever a cell started to divide, cell division starts, then it will produce more cells, and ultimately many individual will produce, and a time will come they will burst. Suppose here cell division occurs. Okay, after cell division they produces more individuals, more than two. Okay, so whenever this Plasmodium burst, means फट जाएगा, then from this ultimately new individuals will produce, and they are more than two. So that is why its fission is what? Multiple fission. More than two individuals are produced. That's why its fission is known as multiple fission. So simply we can say that can you three organisms, we got three organisms, they reproduces by the process of fission. But among these, binary fission, amoeba and leishmania reproduces by the process of binary fission, and whereas Plasmodium, it reproduces by the process of multiple fission. Clear everyone this point? Next point is, next asexual reproduction is what? Fragmentation. Fragmentation. Fragment means some compartment like structure, like this. Organisms have this compartment like structure, and from this compartment a new individual will produce. Especially the Spirogradia. Spirogradia, it is an alga. Alga means algae. It is a singular form of algae. So Spirogradia, it is an alga. It have chlorophyll, so it can produce its own food. Okay, so Spirogradia, it is an organism which reproduces by the process of fragmentation. Now you see how they started to They reproduce by the process of fragmentation. Fragmentation in Spirogadia. So this is the structure of, as I told earlier, that their structure is like this. Fragment means some compartment-like structure. This is a Spirogadia. You see, they have nucleus. Then septum means this is known as their septum. We in our heart, septum is there, means it divides. Our heart have 4 chambers. Suppose this is our heart. So one wall is there, which is known as septum. Like this, Spirogadia have septum. So this is their chloroplast. So whenever their cells started to divide, then from this part, a new Spirogadia will form. From this part also, a new Spirogadia will form. So we can say that in multicellular, and another thing is that this is a multicellular organism. Spirogadia, it is a multicellular organism. It reproduces by the process of fragmentation, and it have chloroplast. Okay, so it can make its own food. Okay, so in multicellular organisms with relatively simple body organizations produce new individuals from its one cell. Okay, from its one cell. For example, simply breaks up into smaller pieces upon maturation. So when they started to divide, means this breaks from these parts, a new individual will produce. From these parts, a new individual will produce. So simply we can say that Spirogadia, it is a kind of alga. It is found in pond water also. In fresh water, we can say they are found in fresh water. The cells of the alga form long filaments. If any part of this filament breaks, if any part, suppose this part breaks, then from this part, any individual will produce. The fragment, or we can say that the broken part, from this broken part, a new individual will produce. This kind of reproduction is called fragmentation. We can say that if any part of the Spirogadia breaks, then from this broken part, it can develop a new individual, and this kind of reproduction is known as fragmentation. So I repeat that fragmentation, it is a process of asexual reproduction. Multicellular organisms generally reproduce by this process. Spirogadia, it is a multicellular organism. It reproduces by the process of fragmentation. When any parts of Spirogadia breaks, then from this broken part, a new individual will start to grow. So this is known as fragmentation. Structure of Spirogadia is like this. Suppose this part breaks, then from this broken part, new individual will start to. The structure of Spirogadia is like this: fragment-like structure, compartment-like structure. Okay, so this is the second method of reproduction, asexual reproduction. Third one, you see, third one is regeneration. So regeneration is what? Planaria and hydra. They reproduce from this process. How they reproduce? Suppose if they are this one, you see, from this is a planaria. Okay, this is a planaria. When its body parts becomes like Spirogadia, when its body parts divides into different parts. Here you see this is a planaria, and this when this body its body parts divides, means sometimes accidentally if their body parts cards, then they forms different. It may forms different parts. So here you see this is their head part, middle part, tail part. So from there, one new individual will produce. From means there how many parts they will form. From that part, a new individual will produce. You see here one planaria is formed. From middle part, another planaria will form, and from tail part, another planaria will form. So now thing is that whenever it divides into different parts, So here each and every part started to divide. That means their cell division starts. Each and every part cell division starts. Okay, and that is the reason from this cell division a new individual will started to grow, and this process is known as regeneration. So regeneration simply means what? Many fully differentiated organisms have the ability to give rise to a new individual organisms from their body parts. This is if the individual is somehow cut or broken, okay, accidentally into many pieces. Many of these pieces grow into separate individuals. So if suddenly they somehow cut or somehow they broke their body parts broken into different pieces, then from these different pieces new individual will produce, because here cell division starts rapidly. That's why from this broken part a new individual will started to grow. For example, hydra and planaria, they generally grow by the process of regeneration. Regeneration is carried out by special cells. These cells proliferate and make large number of cells. From this mass of cells, different cells undergo changes to become various cell types and tissue. These changes take place in an organized sequence referred to as development. However, regeneration is not the same as reproduction. So we can say that this is not same as reproduction. We generally know that reproduction means to produce one of its own kind. But here we can see that from we know that from one individual a new or two, more than one or two individual will started to grow. But here you can see that if they suddenly cut, or if there any body parts is broken suddenly, then from this broken part cell division starts. Okay, and from their broken part any individual will started to grow. So this is the process of regeneration. So what things we have learned? Let me recapitulate. First, we learned that asexual reproduction have 6 types. One is fission, then fragmentation, then regeneration, then budding, then vegetative reproduction. So these are the 6 methods of asexual reproduction. Asexual reproduction is a type of reproduction in which it requires only single organisms to develop the new individual. So first one is what? Fission. Fission is actually the cell division. So unicellular organisms like amoeba, leishmania, they started to reproduce by the process of fission. So how they will reproduce? First, their cell division starts. For whenever cell division starts, their nucleus will started to grow, because cell division started in nucleus. Then ultimately they will they try to separate from their mother. Okay, and ultimately they forms the 2 individuals. So from one amoeba 2 individuals are produced. That is why their fission is known as binary fission. And leishmania also produces by the process of binary fission. But another important thing is that leishmania causes a disease known as Kala-Azar. Then we got that in binary fission, in fission another organism is there, like Plasmodium, which produces more individual from the fission. That's why its fission is known as multiple fission. More than 2 individuals it produces. That's why its fission is known as multiple fission. Then we have learned that fragmentation. Fragmentation means from one fragment a new individual will started to grow. Spirogradia generally reproduces by this process. Fragmentation, if any part of this filament means like this structure, like this are known as filament. So if any part of the filament breaks, then from this broken part a new Spirogradia will started to grow. And spelling is like this: Spirogyra. Spirogradia reproduces by the process of fragmentation. Then third one is called regeneration. In regeneration we have learned that hydra and planaria reproduces by this process. Here, if they suddenly cut their body parts accidentally, then from this different from this cutting part, a new individual will started to grow. So these are the things we have learned. Planaria and hydra reproduces by this process. So today, up to this, then next class we will discuss about the other two methods of other three methods of asexual reproduction, that is budding, vegetative propagation, and spore formation. With this, asexual reproduction will complete. Okay. So your next class is what? Next class.
Computer science.
Okay. And some of you have that advancements. Those who have computer, you stay here, and those who not have computer, you can leave now. Those who have computer, you stay here, and those who have advancements, you can leave now.